Hello, everybody. Who's everybody? We don't know, but hello. Thank you for joining us. Today, Roxy and I have gathered here on July 5th to talk about what even integration is, why are we obsessed about it, why are we talking about it all the time, and kind of demystify a process that seems to be this like thing that everybody talks about, but not many people are actually having a concrete idea of how to do it. It's not just journaling. It's not just journaling. It's a fraction of what it is. So, just to kick it off, for me, integration, even if you look it up, I've looked it up, it's basically the process of bringing different parts into wholeness. And that kind of reminded me of what healing means. That if you look up the original Latin roots, it also means bringing different parts into wholeness. So I was like, oh my gosh, integration is healing. And really, that then reminded me of Gabor Mate saying that trauma actually is disconnection from ourselves. And many of us experience, let's talk about psychedelic journeys. Many of us experience in psychedelic journeys, but also possibly in different like breathwork experiences, like different beautiful experiences around the world, that something felt more real than real. As if we received guidance that felt like truth. Oh my gosh, that is what I really want. Suddenly there are no dilemmas. There's clarity of I know what to do moving forward, getting our life source back, like our energy, our zest for life. And that is a sign of connection, like getting reconnected with ourselves. And what is that? That is healing. So, what is integration? It's the practice of staying connected. It's a practice of staying connected. That is a practice. It's not a to-do list. I feel like many people see it as a to-do list, and that's how I've been seeing it for years, and it wasn't working. I was like, I don't think this is integrating because it was feeling like, oh, just meditate, checking the box, just journal, check the box, spend time in nature, just check the box, be offline. But I was still losing the magic. The effects were still wearing off. And then I realized it's actually the practice of staying connected. So, what makes me feel connected? A few things. One is re-inviting the experience, the felt experience in my body. And this is what we do, Roxy and I, through the sound journeys, the breathwork journeys, the meditation journeys. And even like a few days ago, a few people came to our live masterclass and they said that took me right back to my ceremony. Like the medicine was right there. Like I re-experienced the ceremony. And that is especially powerful when you've just had a journey and you want to keep it. The more you keep re-experiencing it in your body, the more you're integrating it. Because if it's alive now, it's integrated. Like now is the only moment that exists. The more you experience it right now, the more you're in the journey, the more you're integrated. But also, I've seen with one of my incubator clients actually that over a year ago he had his journey and he still like our journeys, our non-psychedelic journeys bring him back, and often without the fear, because often plant medicines can bring a lot of fear, a lot of different responses. So often it will bring him back and he will feel more peace this time. So a really common question that you might have after journeys is how long is this feeling going to last? And my answer always there is as long as you practice it for. It's a practice. Like we are beings of habit. We are who we practice being. We are always practice being something. So in this moment and in the next moment and the next moment, like look at your calendar today, look at your weekly schedule. Are you gonna practice being connected to the experience or disconnected? And it's not just formal contemplative practice that keeps you connected, it's also conversations. It's also community. It's also the meditation. It's also the journaling. It's also spending time in nature. But remembering that this felt more real than real, and it's gonna continue unfolding. It doesn't end at the journey, but the more you tap back into the experience, the more it stays alive in you, and the more you deepen it. You keep getting downloads and guidance and messages. It doesn't stay at the ceremony, or you practice disconnecting from it, responding to other people's needs, scrolling on social media, reading news, and you're literally disconnect. You're out, focusing outwards instead of inwards. So let me just pause here. I would love, Roxy, to hear your take on this.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with all of it. And in fact, when you were talking, it's something I kind of like to think about when I'm describing to people because I facilitate journeys and the importance of integration. Like you said earlier, a lot of the time people confused about what the integration is. They want to get to the journey, they want to get to the reveal, they want to get to the big aha moment and ride out that post journey glow. But really, all of the real good, juicy stuff works after, it begins after the journey, the experience, I should say, the journey of integration. And it's synonymous with, it works hand in hand, however you want to say it, with embodiment. Mm-hmm. So, with practice, with integration, with all of these things that have been revealed during a journey, you can go afterwards and talk about integration, accessing that state that you don't normally access, whatever feels more real, whatever feels more authentic. And then not let it be just a fleeting moment. How can I bring this in daily and embody it? It's like when you learn something in school or you take a course or you start a new job. The practice of doing something over and the repetition and the consistency, you can turn around and describe it or talk about it or your new work skill without having to go and read the manual, because now you've practiced, you're using it in real life in practical situations, and now you're embodied in that way. So the best way to get to that point is by getting into the state, by accessing that bridge that we're providing, and in all of this. And there's so many different facets, there's so many different ways to do it, right? And so being able to talk about this overarching theme of integration and offer all the different ways to do that, but really it all goes back to the same thing. What can we do daily to create this wholeness, this feeling of content and wholeness within ourselves so that we move forward in a new way, right?
Yeah, 100%. And something that you said there, and I wanted to comment on, is basically that it's a training that similar to how we train our bodies at the gym. Like the more you emotionally, spiritually, energetically revisit that state and you realign with it, the more that becomes your new default, your new normal. So this is what it is. It's like training you out of disconnection and being scattered and feeling less, believing less of yourself and being all over the place and feeling contracted, to as soon as you had the experience, it's easier to sustain the momentum than to generate the momentum. And
Yeah.
psychedelics at the core create a bunch of momentum. So it's
Yeah.
easier to sustain that by keep training your nervous system by returning to that state so that it becomes your new normal. It becomes your new default. And this is what our clients say in the incubator. They're like, I'm feeling so good. Is this even okay? It feels, as I call it, too good it feels illegal. You know? And it's not
Yeah.
once and done. Like if I was to nail in one thing that um it just I keep trying to teach this because sometimes people would kind of have like a drop in our sessions and they were like, that's amazing, loved it, never saw them again. And it's the same with psychedelics, and it's like, well, imagine what would happen if you were in this all the time. Like this is the actual training. Like I was saying in the state, it's the difference between having a taster of cheese like a little cube or the whole cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Like integration, the training is the whole cheese of like constantly both somatically through the sound and the meditation, the breath work that we do live personalized journeys on people's whatever they were experiencing, but also we do the coaching, we do teaching, we keep them in remembrance. There's many elements to integration as we spoke of, but it's not once and done. It's actually the ongoing return to homeostasis. And this is how I see also my personal practices. Like I'm not going to do breath work once a month and be like, great. I'll be like, today I was triggered by my husband. I need to put myself back in the state. Today, like something is coming up. I don't even understand what. I'm gonna put myself I back in the state. Or oh, I'm uninspired and I want to create a beautiful class. Where am I gonna get my best ideas? From the state, like not from thinking, not from trying to like squeeze my
Force it.
creative juices, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like an ongoing return to our baseline, to our nature, to our true, essential, timeless, eternal selves. And the more we do that and we practice being in that state, the more we are integrated human beings, the more we vibe higher, the more we have better ideas, the more aligned relationships
Well,
show
they say too, you always hear that you learn better. A person learns better when they're not in a pressured or a frantic state, when they're not in a high anxiety, dysregulated state.
up.
Because at that point, it's survival mode, and your head goes into right here, and it's like, what do I need, right? Tunnel vision.
Yeah,
But when you can be constantly and down regulated and homeostasis and walking around in this place, it's like turning on the light
yeah,
all day and all night. Everything you learn, you just learn easier, you learn faster, you learn better.
exactly.
The state of dissonance becomes a part of your distant past because
Exactly.
you recognize it so quickly,
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
Exactly. Like the contrast is much louder. It's like when you feel like something's off, it's like such a contrast to your baseline that you're like, I need to fix this now. Like, I can't go on my day having conversations, pissing people off because I'm triggered. Like, I need to fix this. Well, before we were more unconscious and not even understanding how we are infecting people with like our own stuff.
Yeah.
Like, the more we do this work, the easier it is to do it in a way. That's why habit, it's like that's what a habit is. The more you do it, the more you want to keep doing it. So in the beginning, it may feel a bit out of character to do all this integration thing and all the different practices and all the different coaching conversations. But then it just becomes part of who you are. And it's just easier and easier to even coach yourself and return to your center naturally. And in fact, this is what we want, like for
Right.
people to learn who it is that how it feels to be in alignment and how it feels to be disconnected. And the more we train and practice that together, the more you can do that on your own. And then your next journeys become way deeper because you've integrated one journey that prepared you for the next. Like you can hold space for yourself very differently. You can relate to your parts instead of from your parts very differently.
Yeah.
You can really coach yourself to go deeper and deeper and keep trusting the process, keep opening and allowing and trusting and breathing. And the journey keeps becoming deeper and more profound and more meaningful. And then your life becomes more profound and more meaningful. So I feel like the deeper the journey, the deeper our life, and the more integrated our life, the deeper the journey, which is why this life is very psychedelic.
Yeah. Like the infinity symbol, it just kind of keeps
Exactly.
collapsing on each other. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mirror. It's a mirror. Like life and psychedelics are psychedelic journeys are mirrors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have anything? So if you want lasting change, you better do these things more of the time. The things that bring you back to connection. It's not once and done. Like you wouldn't go to like a 10-day booty challenge at the gym and be like, I hope that sorted me out for life. You'd be like, no, that created momentum to make it easier for you to stick to like a 2, 3 times a week cadence. And then over time, you realize, oh, it's easier for me to lift heavier than to not. I'm pulled to move my body than to stay in the couch. Like it just overrides your patterns and your habits, and you're ultimately uh, more proud for who you are, more actualizing. You're more energized, more on purpose, just more ecstatic, enthusiastic to live life. It's kind of like doing the good work kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Why isn't the journey enough? People pay thousands of dollars to have the breakthrough of their lives. Why doesn't it stick? That's exactly why, because the
Yeah.
journey is a taster of how life can feel like if integrated. Like
Right.
we often can do, and plant medicines help us often do a bunch of healing work on the day. Sometimes you're like, whoa, I purged a lot of grief. I purged a lot of like I saw myself clearly. But still, I often say, like, do the math. Like, 5 or 12 hours of something is not gonna outperform, like, outweigh
Yeah.
3 decades of you training yourself to be a certain way. Like, if you don't sustain that, you will naturally go back to the ways you've been because neurons that don't fire together, don't wire together. So if you don't practice remembering and re-experiencing that state that was healing, then it's just gonna weaken and fade. Like there's actually Joe Dispenza was talking about this, that as soon as you learn new bits of information, you literally double the amount of connections in a certain part of your brain. But if you don't revisit that information and talk about it and rehearse it and put it into behavior change, action plans, boundaries, you don't actually apply that within hours or days, those circuits literally weaken and fade. And that's why integration ASAP is crucial. Like when I hear people being like, I had a journey 2 days ago, I'm like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
we need a coaching session today. So like, and I've heard that from neuroscientists as well, like 24 hours after a journey is a good time to integrate. Otherwise, a lot of what could be gotten out of the journey often just disappears because we forget it. But there's so much wisdom in it. So I would say, 24, 48, 72 hours after a journey is a really good time to get support and be like, okay, let's talk about it. And the more you talk about it, the more you remember it, the more things come up, more lessons that you would have. I see this with my clients all the time. They were like, I completely forgot this happened, but now that we're having this conversation, I remembered. Oh, and I also had that vision that again, didn't think about it for 3 days, but now that we're in this coaching session, I thought about it. And then all these pieces connect, and you see that you're still in the journey because you're revisiting it while it's fresh. So that's really important.
Well, and I feel like, for the type of journeys I facilitate, we do use sound and we use instruments, but I also do that in between and, in the incubator and what we do, and you've seen the results from it, but it really takes people back to the place very quickly, to the state, and puts them in that place to be able to revisit and to open, with an open heart, and to be able to access so that they can be hashed out and talked about. But one thing that comes up for me when you're saying this is that we've had people who choose not to participate in integration, and we offer group integrations, but then also they don't participate in a one-on-one or don't book a session and don't have these privates. But I always liken it to, you're then turning around and it's like, okay, yeah, I got what I needed, I saw what I needed to see, I got the answers to something, but then you turn around and you work on that same thing with the same mindset that you had going into the journey, right? If you're not having these conversations and opening up and exploring all facets of it, you really don't know where the base of it, it's like, yeah, okay, I am this way because of this, or this happened and now I understand. But if you are trying to take that approach as you've been operating for the past 30 years, it's probably why you're in that situation in the first place. There's probably so many other attachments and facets that make that the thing, right? Just because you've seen it or it's been revealed doesn't mean that you're ready to properly dissect it and to, take it apart layer by layer and then put it back together without the all unnecessary parts, because that's really what we do in integration, or what we do during the journey, right? It's like everything comes apart, it's disoriented, it's disintegrated, so that we can turn around and integrate what needs to be integrated, pivot. The neuroplastic window is now open. We've got opportunity here for change.
Yeah. Like it's basically a shift in perception does not equal a shift in life trajectory. It doesn't mean a shift in how you live. And I think it's really easy to confuse that, whoa, I just had this massive realization, so I'm gonna change. It's like, no, you see things differently, but you don't live differently. And in fact, that creates more dissonance, like the bigger contrast between, because it's one thing to be unconscious, to never take the red pill, and to not know, for example, that you're the common denominator in your life and you have been the problem all along.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we all rich? Like, oh, I was the problem. In many ways, ignorance is bliss. So
Yeah,
before you get
exactly.
conscious and aware, um, it's one thing. once you do, and then you
Mm-hmm.
don't act this way, and you're trying to deny it and bargain and resist what is, and you then go to another journey to feel great, but then again, the journey will, you'll reach a point where even different medicines will show you the same lesson. Because as
Mm-hmm.
I say, well, now you gotta do the inner work, I'm afraid. Like there is no
Welcome to the party.
there is no journey that's gonna bypass. It's like, okay, if you don't want to do this step, we can go to
Yeah,
like ecstasy. It's like, no, like let there be pain. Yeah,
yeah,
integrate the pain in order to, how can you feel ecstatic if you don't integrate the pain?
exactly.
It's a massive bypass. But it's like that cliche, a lesson is repeated until it's learned.
Yeah.
And it's okay that if someone is not ready to do the work, like we can't force it at all. And like one needs to be willing, not certain it's gonna work, but willing to try.
Mhm.
And sometimes, yeah, the lesson will be repeated over and over again and over many journeys and over many months and over many years until you realize, you know what, I'd rather feel all the pain. I'd rather fail than not try, than wonder what if. Like staying where I am is the worst thing that can happen. So I literally have nothing to lose. But the upside potential is infinite. Like the joy I can have, the how comfortable I can feel in my own skin, like the life I can create when I realize like how can I stop being the problem and be the solution.
Yeah, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee it. You can't unfeel it. You can't unlearn it. You can't unhear it.
Exactly.
All of it takes place, and it's like becomes way more uh, torturous
Exactly.
once you've seen it and been exposed, to not do anything about it because it's
Exactly.
not going away. It's there. Yeah.
So it's basically, it's really important to mention here, the journey is half the work. And that's why I'm often a bit upset by the media portraying, you know, 10 years of therapy in 5 hours, because often it can be. Um, but many times it's not like it resolved your life. It showed you where the work is. As one of our, um, when we were in Costa Rica last year, and we had the journey, someone said those 5 hours showed me what I need to do for the next 10 years in therapy. And this is so well, like this person is so mature and so self-aware of like, wow, it just showed me the menu of like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, look at all the ways that you can totally improve your life if you integrate it. So it's an invitation. You can walk through the door or you don't have to, but this is the door. Like this is the next level. So it's half the journey, half the work to only do the journey. The journey is supposed to be a part of a longer, a bigger, more comprehensive, more holistic, more long-term transformation. And often, if we treat it as the peak and it goes downhill from there, then that's what we're gonna get. But what we find out in integration is that it does get better after the journey. Like my life, my coach used to say, your life is always your work's best testimonial. And for the last 3 years at least, I am more and more on purpose year after year, more and more enthusiastic to be alive, more and more I've got myself. It doesn't mean I don't have bad days. It doesn't mean I don't pity myself and doubt myself and feel bad about how things go sometimes. But I've got myself. I know how to pick myself back up. I know how to return to state. Like I don't stay stuck for long. I know who and how to ask for help. I know how to hold myself, and it shows. It shows. So it's like the overall, like how happy and aligned and on purpose and us, like how it feels to be you, and that gets better and better and better. That increases when we do this work imperfectly, like we're not perfect human. We miss days, and I haven't been to the gym since like 5 days. I was telling you on the phone. Things happen, but overall, like on average, there's an upward trend.
Yeah.
And that is the what integration does long term, which if I only did journeys, which I did for many years, I was feeling like kind of at the same place. Like year after year, New Year's resolutions, I would have the same goals. That was like, that's a massive red flag. How can I have the same goals for like 5 years? That's insane. Like I'm doing all this work,
Yeah.
but it's as if I'm on a treadmill. I'm not arriving anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, okay, I need to really understand how this integration situation works and apparently the whole system.
It opens up a whole new world.
Like, well, it's a
Yeah.
reprioritization
Yeah.
of like, yeah, of how so many things, boundaries, how I hold my, like it's the reprioritization of like, based on what is important for me, I'm gonna prioritize that first because me have like, I've got myself like that being that's what I need to work on. And then from there, my relationships will improve. From there, I will be of better service to other people from,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, it's a lot of things working all at the same time. Sometimes we only work on mindset, we only work on nervous system, we only work on, meditating, but different parts of us are out of alignment. And turns out we are not just the mind, we are not just the body, we are not just our spirit, we're everything all at once.
Yeah.
So the more we tackle our growth and our integration through many, like we have an aligned community, or we have one, or ideally even more than one people that get us, that we can talk to, especially about altered states of consciousness.
Yeah.
We have somatic practices. We have like this constant brainwashing that I call it, of like constantly working on your beliefs, that you want to train your belief system, your operating system, to believe that whatever you want is possible for you, and so on. So, like working on different parts of us at the same time, when we align mind, body, and action, that is when a lot of things start to shift. So, not doing some mindset work over here, some nervous system work over there. And that's why, like, another person that came to the incubator, and she was saying, like, my gosh, like 2 years in this program that has all these different pieces all at once. I got more out of this in 2 weeks than 2 years of trauma work and 2 years of nervous system work.
Yeah. Because it's not linear, right? All of these parts can be worked on at the same time and they can all enhance each other. There's a synergistic effect that takes place within your life with every aspect that needs the attention, because all of it does when you're coming into wholeness. But a lot of people try to do this linear thing. Well, first I've got to do this first, and then I'm going to do this, and then this is going to, and it doesn't work that way. It's a cycle, and it all works together. So everything fires and starts working synergistically to help the other thing become more harmonized, more aligned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
also not, I'll do some therapy when I need it, when I'm not okay. And it's like, why do you not stay in feeling good and see how feeling good can turn into better and better and better and better, as opposed to constantly going from, if I go to -3, I'll come back to 0, instead of going like from +3 to +5 to +13. Like, and this is a lot of what we do.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's like when people work on their house and they don't call the person to come fix something. It's like, oh, it's not that bad. Oh, it's not that bad. And it's like, okay, or the gutters. That was always a big thing in the house I lived in before. This tree with the leaves, and it's like, we need to take care of this. It's like, oh, you can't see it. Can't see the leaves. And then what happens is one day it sprinkles outside, a little bit of rain, and now half of the roof is falling down. When really we could have just maintenance this,
exactly.
kept it clean,
Yeah.
kept it flowing, right? None of this would be a thing. But yeah, people just kind of they miss the mark when they're waiting until it gets that bad.
Yeah.
It
And
never gets that bad if you're continuing to do the work, if you're continuously doing it, right?
you're vicious cycling, right? Because you're
Yeah.
not, it's like the treadmill thing. It's like you're not going somewhere you've never been before. You just keep going to the same peak. So if we're going to, um, I was observing a conversation when someone chose like something like 5-MeO DMT to work on um a dysregulated nervous system or something like that. And in my head, it was like, why don't you just do nervous system work? And why are you going to a very intense psychedelic for something that could result in integration?
Flag. Call a flag. Flag on the play.
Sometimes it's like kind of like what tool are we using for what and what? So yeah, that could be almost like an example of like vicious cycling.
Mhm.
Instead of doing the work and then going into a psychedelic experience,
Yeah.
um, having trained the nervous system to be like, okay, now I have the regulated nervous system. Now, five, come and guide me, come and take me to whatever. I mean, five is quite intense. As opposed to, this like, this is my only place to get clarity. This is my only place to feel like myself, to reconnect with myself. There's actually so many practices like sound, like breath work, like meditation, like movement.
Infinite possibilities.
They've been time tested as well. I mean, psychedelics are also very time tested. And they can supplement the psychedelic work because other times, sometimes I find that journeys can be wasted opportunities.
Absolutely.
Like you have that window of heightened neuroplasticity after you are such a fertile ground for information. You've just planted new seeds, you've just got some clarity, you've just felt some high energy emotions. The worst thing you can do is nothing.
Yeah.
The worst thing you can do is to never water those seeds again. So that's when I kind of, it breaks my heart. I often warn against this. It's like, what's your integration plan? Like, why would you just have a journey and not an infrastructure after? Like, what are you going to do in the days after? What's your plan? Who are you speaking to? How are you training your body? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, I hope it's gonna last, as if hope is a strategy. Hope is lazy optimism, as an old friend of mine used to say. Lazy optimism. And then it's like, oh, every day it wears off. It's like, oh, wonder why.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. I've seen it all too many times.
I'm creating memes about that at this point. I have a meme about this. So, anything else?
Oh, I feel this was a very nice start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any final words? Or do you
That,
complete?
no, we're just scratching the surface, and I can't wait to talk more about it.
Oh, yay! This is
Yeah.
only the beginning. A lot.
Just the beginning, just a sprinkle.
Amazing. Well, thanks for watching, lovely stranger.